Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining The Climbers. The Climbers is a 2 to 5 player game that actually came out about 10 years ago. So it's just had the re-release, at least within the last 12 months or so, has had a re-release of a older game. And I really love this game. I'm surprised I haven't come across it. This is one that hits the table and people either really love it or they, I don't want to play that one again. There's a physicality to this game. It's just a pile of blocks and you're moving those blocks. But what ends up happening is that you're going to find that two people will end up fighting it out for the title at the end. I personally find this is a better game with more players. It's a good game with 2 players. Don't misunderstand me, but it's a better game with more players. The reason it's a better game with more players is that the winner is the person who is standing the highest when everyone passes. Passing just means not moving upwards. So if you've only got a 2-player game, it just takes one of the players or the player who's lower to not be able to move up or not be able to put a block in front of them to move up, and the other player's won. So you find that it's a different way of playing with 2 players than if you're playing with more, because you can rely on the other people to, at least that person will move up this turn. This really is a who can stand the highest type of game. It's really hard to photograph. If you watch my Instagram and you've seen this one coming through, you'll notice that it's really awkward angles to try and get just the picture of the blocks without much behind it. There's pictures of roofs and pictures of it's a weird because it just takes up so much vertical space. It doesn't take up any more space like around the table, but vertically, yeah, it can take up a lot of space when you get to the end of the game. Each of the blocks that are in this game has all 5 colors plus a beige, which is shared by everyone. And there's some little details, some little rules about how to use them that are worthwhile looking into and worthwhile knowing before you start the game. What I find, the only frustrator I find with this is that the same colours come on each side. So you'll have yellow and red, for example, will be on opposite sides of the blocks. On every single block will be opposite sides. Whether that's a longer side or a shorter side, they're opposite each other. Which seems okay, unless you're playing pink. If you're playing as pink, that is on the opposite side of the neutral, which means that every time you are placing a block, you're either playing your own color or neutral's color, but you can't use the other iteration of the block, the other turning of the block. So I find that it puts pink at a disadvantage pretty much all the time against everyone else who has the ability to, I can play my own color, or I can turn and I'll be able to play beige with the opposite size of the block. That's the only real negative I find on this game, is just that one thing, that they're stuck with these pairings. It would be possible to put them on different pairings on each block so that you don't get stuck into that position. But, you know, it's part of the game. It is what it is. We just move forward with it, and we just be aware of it when you're playing, that pink is opposite beige. And so if you're playing less than 5 players, possibly don't play pink, because it will limit pink's ability to choose stuff. The explanation of this game is relatively straightforward, and at the start of the game you're thinking, oh yeah, it's one of these, just put that. But what happens is, by about halfway through, you start really getting into the thinking, and it actually becomes a really thinky game. And it's a worthwhile one to be aware of that, because right at the beginning stages, pretty much every game I've played starts the same with, where's that half block so I can get onto that half block. But that placement actually affects how you're going to go at the end. Your ability to work with or against another player also affects how you're going to go at the end. There are some other elements, so ladders and little things that stop building, that get used once. Your use of them, or when you use them, directly affects how you're going to go at the end. It might, if they're used really early, they might get you super high compared to everyone else, but everyone else will eventually catch up. If they're used too late, then they're not gaining as much as they possibly could be gaining. There's a really thinky element on when to place that, when to use those extra elements on the game. So look, go ahead and watch my videos. You'll see those elements and what I'm actually talking about with that. I've found that I'm Australian, if you can't tell from my accent. It's very rare to find this game in Australia. I think that's because of the pure weight of the game. I've actually been looking for this one for a while, and I was looking online for all the shops that list online that they have it. None of them were listing this one. And I just walked into a shop that I'm very aware that sits $10 or so above the actual trading price of what I would usually pay for stuff. But I tend to look through just in case. And they had this on the shelf. I don't know why they had it on the shelf. I don't know how they had it on the shelf, but they did. So I bought a copy. So if you're Australian, it's worth looking for. I'm really glad I bought this. It's probably a little bit more expensive than I wanted to pay for this one, but it is what it is. And it's one of those things that you just deal with. But just the pure weight of this makes it very difficult for the traveling of it, for the cargo to put in with other ones, because it's all wood. It's a heavy game. So in terms of actual weight, not in terms of play weight. Sorry. So look, if you have a chance to get your hands on the Climbers, or you get a chance to play it, I strongly suggest playing it and see if you like it. If you like it, I guarantee you will really like it. It's one of those thinky games for people who are in that headspace, but I've found a lot of people who dislike the game as well. So have a look at my Gamesplay and my Gamesplanation, see what you think of it. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be gamesplaying, please shoot me an email at thegamesplaner@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplaner to keep up to date with the games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.